What actually controls a human being? Why do some people rise spiritually while others collapse under the weight of their own ego? Inside every human being are two powerful mechanisms, one that pulls us downward and one that calls us upward. Today we're talking about the Nafs and the conscience, and how these two forces determine whether a person ascends or falls. The human being possesses two dimensions. One is the mulki dimension, or the physical, worldly side of our existence. The other is the malakuti dimension, the spiritual and unseen side. Throughout history, scholars have described these two dimensions using different terms. Such terms include angelic and satanic, material and spiritual, bodily and soulful, nafs-based and conscience-based. The words change, but the reality they point to is the same. The clearest way to understand this reality is to see these as two mechanisms working simultaneously within the human being. The conscious mechanism is far more than just feeling guilty. It is made up of the heart, the spirit, and the inner subtleties that belong to the realm of divine command, along with the will, perception, consciousness, and emotion. This mechanism recognizes truth instinctively and pulls the human being toward Allah. It is oriented toward meaning, responsibility, and transcendence. The Nafs mechanism, on the other hand, consists of desires, ego, ambition, anger, envy, resentment, and the love of status and recognition. These traits were not given to human beings without purpose or wisdom. However, the conscience and the nafs almost always operate against each other. When the nafs dominates, the conscience weakens. When the conscience dominates, the nafs does not disappear. It transforms. According to the Sufi tradition, the nafs is not meant to be destroyed but refined. It can rise from the commanding self to the self-reproaching, then to the inspired, the tranquil, the content and pleasing, and finally the purified state. This is why true sainthood is described as the sainthood of the companions. They did not deny human impulses or withdraw from the world. Instead, they dyed the nafs with divine color, Sibghatullah, transforming even difficult emotions into means of closeness to Allah. Take the love of status, recognition, and power as an example. When the desire for position, influence, or praise is allowed to serve only the ego, it corrupts the heart. A person begins to act not for truth, not for justice, but for applaud and validation. Over time, sincerity erodes, and the self becomes the object of worship. But when this same desire is disciplined by conscience, it becomes something entirely different. Accepting responsibility for the sake of service, stepping into leadership to protect others from justice, or standing publicly for truth despite personal cost. These acts transform ambition into worship. When a person restrains their ego, chooses sincerity over recognition, and abandons status for Allah's sake, they earn reward equivalent to fulfilling an obligation. Even the ego, when disciplined, can become a path to paradise. Now consider anger. Unrestrained anger corrupts thought, emotion, and action. It hardens the heart and turns a person into a tyrant whose decisions are driven by impulse rather than justice. But anger guided by conscience becomes moral courage, defending the oppressed, protecting dignity and honor, and standing firm against injustice all require controlled anger. Such anger, when directed toward truth, is beloved to Allah as patience and gentleness. Angels do not struggle. Their will operates only among options that are already good. Human beings, however, must choose between good and evil. And because reward is proportional to hardship, the struggle becomes the very reason humans can surpass angels. Through conscience, through resistance, and through moral effort, the human being earns a rank that angels can never attain. The word wijdān, meaning conscience, literally means to find. Through conscience, a person finds themselves and finds their Lord. Saints recognize it through spiritual unveiling, while philosophers grasp it through intuition. Despite their different paths, both agree on one fundamental truth: conscience does not lie. For those who understand its language, it is the sharpest proof of Allah's existence, far beyond argument or intellectual accumulation. Within the conscious are two essential points. These points are reliance and seeking help. The human being senses their weakness and instinctively calls out for support. And because there exists within us a genuine need to seek help, there must exist one who responds. Nothing in this universe is meaningless. Every inner need has a real counterpart, but a person who never listens to their conscience will never recognize this reality. Knowledge alone does not awaken the conscious. Action does. Kant, a famous philosopher, hinted at this when he said that God is known not through theoretical reason, but through practical reason. A person may carry libraries of information in their mind and still hear nothing, within their conscious. What activates it is righteous action, salih al-amal. Without practice, without lived commitment, the conscious remains completely silent. Inside every human being is an ongoing struggle between the nafs and the conscience. One seeks recognition, control, and self-satisfaction. The other seeks truth, responsibility, and closeness to Allah. Which one wins depends on what one feeds it. The conscious is always speaking. The real question is whether we are listening. Thank you all for watching this episode.